I'm Stan from the Land Pioneers podcast, and today I'm super excited to welcome to you Ben Howard. Ben, welcome.
Thank you, Stan. Nice to be here.
Yeah, so I met Ben quite a while ago, and in the world of charismatic property developers, Ben stood out as probably one of the most that I've ever met in all that time. I just found him super easy to talk to, and he's gone from some pretty challenging early beginnings to achieving incredible things, running a charity and controlling at one point of time over 1,600 lots of land, and that's where we will get to. But I sort of wanted to start with that early journey and how you sort of developed your entrepreneurial spirit. So Ben, how did it kind of all begin for you?
Specifically into property?
From the early start, your music career and the rest.
I don't think I'll embarrass myself or anyone else on that. But a great actually point, because as you know, my background, I didn't complete school, but I had the privilege of going to a private school for some time, and then to a Catholic school. Really finished up at the end of year 10. As you know, I had lost my elder brother to suicide, which put me on a trajectory of being on homeless allowance for sort of about 5 years. Now, the flip side to that was a massive driver for me. My forte from being in a band then was the entrepreneurial aspects. How can I promote? How can I get other bands and do nightclubs on a very small scale? I think the last event I did was a joint promotion with the Gov, an Adelaide Music Institution, and they're bringing over Rocksteady crew.
Wow.
Yeah, from America, for all those people that know that, and the Australian Breakdancing Championships as well, which is a
cool.
great experience. Yeah.
So you sort of started off in that music genre, and look, schooling, some people find that it works, others maybe not so much. So year 10, year 11, you've decided enough's enough, I'm out of this place. Was your foray into property at that point of time, or was it first you explored the music scene for a fair bit?
Yeah, I think music's something that I, really wanted to pursue. I'm just a creative at heart, and still am. And I think the piece that really drove it for me was the ability then to say, where do those skill sets fit in? So then I went, okay, I'd like to do a business course and explore how far I could sort of take that. I did a certificate in business, completed that, then started to door knock businesses, because that college was in Rundle Mall, and asked them, hey, look, I've just learned how to write a business plan. Can I write a business plan for you? I was 18, 19.
Yeah,
no fear. But I think it was just a drive. It wasn't even a point in that time. It was just, there was no consideration of the fear. It would have been there, 100%.
Right.
But looking back, it's just, it wasn't
conscious.
Yeah, I wasn't conscious of it. Yeah, maybe it was just a bit of stupidity, right?
Sure.
And
enthusiasm often works better than planned out, and then they never start.
100%. So yeah, we did that, got into that. Cut a long story short, my first job then was at Wheelchair Sports, and that was cold calling, trying to raise money for. They had an entrepreneurial events team.
Yeah, right.
And that was holding like special events, and we had to call up people literally and convince people to spend a day of their life raising charity, calling their friends for special events. And that was a great experience, because it opened me up to, I guess, what you would traditionally call as, financially successful people, or people of means.
Yeah, but you also got some sales training along the way.
There was no, I actually talked myself, the girl who actually got the job, I actually went in and said, what do I need to do to get this job? I don't care, I don't need to get paid. Like, just give us a phone and let's see what I can do. And
on to actually like raising the most in 1 year.
Yeah, I was the highest fundraiser. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Turns out I was good on the old phones.
Good at it, yeah.
That's right. So, as my mate said, he goes, Ben, you got more lines than Telstra.
Right.
And that was a great experience because then you get to connect with, you know, yeah. I hate that term, successful people, but yeah, sure. That's right. It was a different field for us, and it was very interesting. And from that, I started to. And
for someone who's so ambitious, all of a sudden you get exposed to all these different people. You can see how they've created success.
Yep.
And start to understand. All right. Well, actually, I might be able to do that bit.
Correct. And the common denominator for me was property.
Right.
And I think the initial assumption there was, well, you know, majority of these people have sort of an interest in property. I started then to, you know, look into reading certain books, trying to role model and mentor, you know, certain people, you know, and I won't, you know, sort of name drop or put people in it either. But
of course,
there was one gentleman who I met who was a successful developer.
And he was just buying ex-housing houses or ex-housing commission houses. Was that it? Or
he was actually he did cutting up of land and then sold it to a lot of builders in Adelaide. And he was a very kind man, and he loved his Subway sandwiches. And I could afford that. That was in the budget. So I would always catch up and just you know, sort of speak to him about how did he go through his journey and how did he get to, because he was doing 100-200 lot subdivisions.
Pretty decent size.
Very decent size, and when you're, you know, young and you're seeing that stuff, it just seems impossible.
But at the same time, combined with the gift of the gab, so to say, and no fear, you didn't have anything holding you back to say maybe one day I could be doing something like that. Did that thought ever cross your mind?
Honestly, I think that the whole journey is filled with doubt. And I think that's one of the things that drives, you know, some people, especially me. It's that ability just to go, you know, if you can't do it, you must do it. Like, you know, and confront things. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I've never read that book, but see the title.
You've heard of it.
I've heard of it. That's right. Great, you know, great analogy. And you know, from that perspective, great learnings. You know, and then I was lucky enough to through a friend, you know, strike up a conversation with her father, who became a real mentor to me. And you know, he was buying up ex-housing trust homes. You know, Elizabeth Davron Park, Taparoo, and everyone was like, you know, why would you do that? You know, back then, 1999, 2000, you're looking at, you know, 70,000, 60,000, 50,000.
And they were probably rented out at what, 150, 160, something like that?
See, you're a property guy, so yeah, positively geared, which I didn't even know what that meant at that point in time.
You're just buying houses.
Well, yeah, I didn't have the capital. Right. So I had to go and borrow the capital.
So how did you buy your first one?
The first one that I ever had first property I ever bought was at Taparoo. And I had to use the first homeowners grant, which I think back then was about $3,000 from memory. And
so that only gets you to maybe half of the deposit, like if you need 10%.
Yeah, correct. So I had to raise the rest privately. And again, I'm not going to put any names, so I haven't asked anyone to do this. But then, you know, and then again, you pay an interest rate on that money. You've got it, and then we then started to grow, and then I think within, I don't know, about 4 years, whatever, I'd purchased about 16 properties. But the timing on that was right. You know, the 1999, 2000, 2001 got a bit more difficult. But then it was just, you know, the position where banks were in that thing to lend money, and being positive.